Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Monstrosities Voice, Horror's Untouched Conversations, the podcast for Black Horror by Black Horror. I'm your lovely host, Kai Asia Fields, back with another episode for y'all, and I brought back Jamarco.
Hey, y'all. What's happening?
And today is our special Halloween episode, even though Halloween is every day.
Yes.
And today we'll be talking about, drum roll, Tales from the Hood. Cool beans. So, just to get the politics out of the way.
Yeah.
Tales from the Hood was directed by, I don't even know how to say his last name.
Yeah, it's a weird last name.
Rusty Cundleff.
Yeah, sounds
and
good.
Darren Scott.
Darren Scott. And fun fact, executive produced by Spike Lee.
Yes.
That's right.
But we're not going to talk about the second one or the third one because they are both very...
Don't watch them. I mean, you can watch them. Don't watch them.
Bad. Even though the third one has Tony Todd in it.
Yeah, and Lynn Whitfield.
Really?
Yeah. Shout out to Lynn Whitfield.
That goes to show that I didn't watch the third one because the second one.
I just saw it pre-recorded.
Anyways, enough on that one. So, before we get into it, let's talk about some of the themes. So I saw a post by the incomparable Tanana Ritu, who is this brilliant professor and horror scholar, about some of the themes that are in this film. So we have child abuse, police brutality, soul food.
Soul food. It's an insider, y'all. We'll talk about that later.
We have corruption, racism in politics, slavery, crime, and a whole bunch of other things. So let's go ahead and get into the movie. So we got these three gangbangers.
They're looking for some drugs.
The shit.
The shit.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah. The
So
shit.
sorry.
They say it in the movie. So
The shit.
We don't know what it is.
The doo-doo.
You know what I'm saying? We don't know. But they meet this weirdo mortician.
Who is?
Played by the effervescent Clarence William III.
But we got... So the three gangbangers are... Shout out to Primms at Cinema. We got Junior from the Players Club.
That's right.
We got Chicago from Poetic Justice.
Exactly.
And we got Stacy from The Wood.
There you go.
Which is Samuel Monroe Jr., Joe Torre, and DeAndre Brooks.
Respectively.
Yes. And so pretty much they are driving and they meet up at this funeral home, Sims Funeral Home to be exact.
Correct.
And they are trying to get the shit, which is drugs. And so they meet up with this spooky mortician who is Clarence Williams III.
Exactly.
And he's like, okay, I'm going to give you the shit, the drugs. But before, I'm going to tell you stories about how these bodies got to the funeral home. So,
and that's what we call an anthology.
An anthology. So Tales from the Hood is a black anthology that was released in 1995. So,
you know what was inspired by it? Tales from the Crypt on HBO.
Oh, duh.
There you go.
I was like, what?
It's in the title, kids. There's no crypt keeper, but you got a weird mortician.
Yes.
So we got that.
We'll get to his spookiness at the end of the show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, that was scary. 95, I was, what, not even here?
Yeah.
I was here, but barely.
It gets weird. But, before we get to that, let's start with the first piece.
Yes. So, even though they have specific names in the end credits, I just named them myself. So, the first story is called Clarence Goes Crazy. So, we have Clarence, who's this rookie cop. He's on the force, and he's partnered with these crooked-ass cops. So, they pull over this politician, Martin Monroe.
Martin Morehouse.
Morehouse.
So you're thinking about Samuel Montrose again?
Yeah. Oof, Monroe. Anyway.
Monroe.
Martin Morehouse, who is a black politician, and his goal is to take all of the bad cops off of the street. So these cops kind of flag him down, they pull him over for a broken tail light. They end up killing him, injecting him with heroin, and pushing his car into the river to kind of stage that he overdosed and to tarnish his legacy. Okay, so Clarence is like in the background, and he's seeing this, and he's like, yo, this is a politician, like, you chill out, like, what are y'all doing?
A black politician.
A black politician at that. And so these cops are like, no, like, we're brethren. We're brethren, you know what I mean? You know that whole, like, gang allegiance that cops have.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. Thank you. And so, I think a year passes by, and Clarence is...
He's not doing too good.
He's not at all. He's drinking.
He's drinking, 40. He's got his flat top's not really holding up, and he's got a beard. He looks raggedy.
Yeah, he looks rough.
Better word.
He looks really rough.
Yeah.
And he keeps hearing the voice of Martin telling him, like, do it, Martha.
Bring them to me.
Bring them to me.
Yeah.
And so he does. He brings them to Martin's gravesite. And
Brings the cops.
Yeah, the cops.
Yes.
And it doesn't go well.
Yeah, it gets a little messy. It gets a little out of hand because spoiler alert, the cops are racist.
Yeah, very.
And they start to defecate Martin's grave until, surprise, Martin rises from the grave and seeks revenge on the racist cops.
Yes. And the zombie actually looks pretty damn good for
It's
1995. Y'all know I do special effects and makeup, so I was really looking
Hey, plug your stuff.
It's pretty good. But the political and social reverence of this scene or this story is something that is relevant to today. Obviously, we know in the social climate that we live in, like, police brutality is something that is very, very real.
To this day. And I think it was made in 95.
Yeah,
so
95.
The most prominent example of this is Rodney King.
Rodney King, yeah.
But for me, watching this story, especially the story of Clarence, kind of gave me flashbacks to the Chris Dorner story about, if you know, Chris Dorner was an LAPD cop, and when, cops turned on him, and then, he went nuts. But
he didn't go crazy. He knew what he was doing.
He knew what he was doing, allegedly.
Yeah.
But, watching Clarence's kind of distrust and disengagement from the police force kind of gave me flashbacks to the Dorner story, and then, of course, the Rodney King story as well. And seeing Morehouse rise from the grave, such kind of almost a cathartic feeling. Like, I feel like for every Breonna Taylor, for every Trayvon we get, we were just like, man, I wish they could, rise up and get revenge.
Exactly.
So, for me, gave me a little bit of like catharsis. Like, man, I wish that could happen. But, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's interesting that you say that because in the end of that scene, you know that was all made up in Clarence's mind and that he was in the mental institution because he ended up killing the cops.
Right.
And at least that's what
they imply.
But yeah, it's crazy, and that's crazy how they didn't sentence him to life. They actually put him in the mental institution.
Yeah, it's 95. They're like,
black people,
Yeah, they're like, oh, went nuts.
Okay, moving forward to the next story, we have Walter and the Monster. Soulful Kid.
Soulful Kid. Yeah. Yeah, it's the Soulful Kid. What's his name again? I don't want to say.
Brandon Hammond.
I know him as the Space Jam Kid.
I know him as Soul Food. He was in Menace to Society. He was in this movie. He was in...
If you were a black young man in the 90s, Brandon Hammond probably played you.
Yeah,
so.
he did.
Walter, he's going through a little bit of a rough patch. He's dealing with a monster, and he's getting abused, and he's getting hurt. It's weird scratches all over his body, and the teacher, who was actually the director...
Yes.
Fun fact, I thought it was Method Man because he looks remarkably.
He does not look like Method Man.
A little bit in the face. I wish we had a picture so you could show him how he kind of looks. Just a little bit. But anyway, Walter and the teacher started to bond over this trauma.
Trauma bonding.
Hey, shout out to trauma bonding. It helps.
No.
It doesn't. No.
Keep going, Mark.
Anyway, so Walter and the teacher started to bond over Walter's abusive monster that came after his dad died. And, the teacher asked Walter to draw this monster, and he draws another monster, and he realizes that these monsters that he draws on paper aren't as scary as he thinks, because
his classmate was the one who was like, hey, if you draw these monsters and burn them or crumble them up, then they'll go away. And then that's that scene where he crumbled up the bully. Because he got bullied at home and at school.
Yeah, so Walter wasn't popular.
Yeah, he was not popular. But he drew a picture of one of the main bullies, and he crumbled the paper up, and the kid broke both arms and both legs.
Both arms and both legs.
Because he got weak bones.
Yeah, thank you for that extra. It wasn't Sinbad, but I thought it was Sinbad. But, so we flash forward, and we find out that this monster isn't really as scary as we think. It's
because he's David Alan Grier.
The same David Alan Grier from In Living Color. He's a bad guy now. So David Alan Grier is an abusive stepdad who is married to Paula J. Parker. And we find that the teacher intervenes because he wants to help. He's a good teacher.
They all get their ass whooped.
Yeah, David Allen.
Everybody?
On everyone.
Everybody gets their ass whooped.
Until our good friend Soul Food Kid grabs his magical monster paper
and crumbles
it up. David Allen Greer's in a mushy pile, still saying it ain't over yet, even though his arms and legs.
Oh yeah, don't forget that he had monster tatted on his arm.
Oh.
Because in every story they try to like personify whatever it is. So like in the movie, if you look closely, you can see that there's a tattoo that says monster. And he's like, you trying to draw somebody to look like a monster? And then it goes to the monster.
There you go.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Anyway.
They burn him alive.
They burn him. That's a dark ending, but hey, I feel like out of all of 4 of these stories, I feel like this might be the most, I don't want to say universal, but it's probably the more, I don't know,
relatable. Yeah. It was actually really tough to see that scene of him whooping everybody's ass.
Yeah.
And poor little Rusty.
Walter. Yeah.
Poor Walter, but poor Rusty, because Rusty's just a teacher.
Yeah.
And by law,
he was
he's
trying to help.
obligated to like intervene. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was
and
trying to help.
So he was trying to help, and then he came trying to have a parent-teacher conference. He ended up getting
I know these crazy people were living here.
Yeah. But yeah, the next story is, I'm letting Marco take this whole story with the dolls.
Favorite. It's my favorite. If you love Tales from the Hood like I do, then you know what story I'm ready to talk about. So there's this racist mayor, right? And he's living on a plantation, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to get votes for
Duke Medgar.
Duke Medgar, which is actually an anagram of two,
yeah, very...
David Duke, and I forgot the other one. But,
the founder of the... Anyways, keep going.
Anyway, so this racist mayor, Duke Medgar, lives on this plantation, and he finds out that the souls of the slaves have been transferred into tiny, creepy little dolls.
Very creepy dolls.
Yes, and the more he stays in this house, the creepier things start to get. With was it his manager or like his?
I called it. Well, in my notes, I put like political assistant. Side note: the political assistant is the same guy who's a hairdresser in Poetic Justice.
Smiley and Do the Right Thing.
Yes. Yes.
All About the Benjamins.
Yes.
Bag
Oh
out
shit!
the arm.
He was in that movie.
I love that guy.
Oh, that's crazy.
American Gangster. You know what I'm talking about? So
yes, he's a light-skinned dude, curly hair.
Robert Guinevere Smith.
Something, yeah.
Anyway, so he mysteriously dies. The mayor thinks it's a freak accident. He falls down the stairs. Come to find out, one of these creepy little dolls was behind the whole thing. So the mayor is forced to come. Oh, did I mention the mayor is a total racist?
Yeah, and he was he has affiliation with the Klan.
Yeah, doesn't sound familiar like anybody that we know in 2020. But so this mayor goes toe to toe with these racist dolls, and it ends. I should manage. I wish I had the picture of the mother.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude, and like after like he discovers that the doll in the limousine.
Yeah.
And like he's like, oh shit, the dolls are like real. Because at first he was really skeptical.
Exactly.
And then he like hits the painting, and the painting starts to bleed.
Yeah. See? Y'all didn't notice that, did you?
All right, we're about to finish the story, but we got a quick commercial break.
Dance break.
And we're back. Take it away, Marco.
So last we left off, Tales from the Hood, Part 1, Story 3, Racist Mayor versus Scary Dolls.
Yes.
The mayor is going toe-to-toe with these dolls, and fun fact, every time a doll appears in this scene, a doll disappears
from the picture. Yep.
So by the end, the picture is all white. Guess who's all in the house? Surprise, surprise,
The dolls.
slave dolls. And they eat the racist mayor to pieces as the mother watches. That scene really stuck with me. It's really creepy. It's great that the racist mayor got eaten up, but it's just the visuals of cutting back and forth and the little, yeah. It stuck with me. Nightmares for years.
It's funny, Dad, if you're watching this episode, me and my dad used to always make fun of the guy falling down the stairs.
Oh.
He's like, ah!
Yeah.
Me and my dad used to always make fun of that scene.
Yeah, it's really dramatic.
So moving forward to, I guess this is kind of like the climax.
The fourth and final.
The fourth and final story, which is kind of like the climactic part. You have Crazy K, who is played by Hakeem from Moesha.
Yeah.
You know exactly who I'm talking about.
Lamont Bentley, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad met him, funny fact.
Really?
Yeah, LA, you meet people. But
so granted, these in between each story, the gangbangers grow a little bit more like involved. Like, oh shit, this is really going on. This is happening. What's up? But then Junior Junior's bachelor party. Sorry, Junior, who is
just please refer to them as the characters, please.
Junior,
Tracy,
bro, you know,
Junior.
He is like, no, dude, we came to get the shit. Like, what's up? And so after the doll story, they're like, yo, like, I'm really scared. Like, and then, you know, Joe Torre's character is like the really scary one.
Yeah.
And then DeAndre Brooks or Bond's character is like the one that's like, oh shit, I'm kind of interested in him.
Yeah.
Samuel, I think Madison or Samuel, whoever
Montrose.
Junior.
Yeah.
Whoever Junior
the guy
was.
looking for the
He was Blossom from Powerpuff Girls. He was the one that was really engulfed in like, no, we need to get shit. So, anyways, going back to Hakeem. So we have Hakeem, who is this like very enraged, angry gangbanger with these really bad sideburns. Shout out to Primms.
Oh my god, they were awful.
Dude, they were like down here.
They were like Wolverine sideburns.
No, for real,
they were
for
terrible.
real.
Who
And
did
so
that?
he starts off, he's driving, listening to this banger ass song that I have been listening to.
Just think of any generic 90s
West Coast song,
rap
yeah.
song,
And so he goes and he like smokes this guy like randomly in a residential neighborhood with like 2-story houses. Like, what the fuck?
Well, what was this beef about?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then as soon as he like pops one dude, there are 3 dudes that come behind him and shoot him. So when they shoot him, he is like, oh, and then all of a sudden all these cops come, right?
Yeah.
These cops come out of nowhere. The guys are still standing over Hakeem, and they're like, yeah, what's up? One less nigga. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, all that gangster stuff.
Yeah, all that gangster stuff. And then the 3 guys run off. The cops pop them. And so Hakeem's like, oh, I'm saved. And so time goes by. He's in prison. And so this lady, who I forgot her name. Dang.
She had amazing locks.
Yeah, amazing locks. She's a beautiful actress. She played in that
great.
one episode of Fresh Prince with the sunflowers. Yeah, her.
If you know the name of the actress.
Yes, please leave it in the comments below what the name of the actress is.
We're being, yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, so she is like, no, I want to take him into this like behavioral like mental institution, and like test him to see if we can like reform this person, you know, and give him a second chance.
It's like S.H.I.E.L.D. almost.
Yeah, so
You know what I mean?
he agrees and he goes and they like run all these tests on him, and it's kind of giving me like Clockwork Orange vibes. You know, like when they take Alex in and they're trying to, so it's similar to that. And so the scene that really stuck out to me was the scene between Hakeem's character and the white skinhead or the white supremacist in the jail cell, and
let me set it up if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when I don't want to call him like, what's the name of the movie? Crazy K.
Crazy K.
They lock him up, and he's sitting next to this white guy, and this turns out to be a neo-Nazi. And he goes on his long vitriol about how he's going to purify the world, and basically, and the one quote that stuck with, I don't want to speak for you, but the quote that stuck for me was, you know, the neo-Nazi looks at Crazy K and goes like, all those people you killed, what color were they? And it makes you think. It makes you go, well, are we the good guys or are we the bad guys?
Even though, I mean, in my mind, it's like, it makes me think about the whole concept of black on black crime, even though that is a myth, but that's not there. It really makes me think about that, like, okay, like, we're in a space, granted there's a bunch of, we're all black, we're in this one space, we live around each other, of course, like the crime that is geared towards each other is going to be towards black people, but it's just like, damn, like, are we aiding to a secret agenda of another demographic of people who hate us?
Right.
You know, so that is what...
Are we like doing their job for them?
Are we doing their job for them? When, you know, when intentionally, like Hakeem or his character Crazy K is offended when he called him the N-word, but it's like, dude, you're killing
the same people that,
you know what I'm saying? But anywho, moving forward, the one scene where he is I guess they do the strobe lighting. Yeah, the strobe lighting scene where they like kind of I guess it's like a imaginary thing. They do the strobe lights and they pull every person that he's killed up, and that the scene with the little girl, she's like, I didn't do anything. I was just here. He's like, your bullet ain't got no name on it. Like,
damn, you kind of go, wow, Crazy K.
No, dude,
not a good person.
Yeah, he's not a good person. But the thing that I noticed most about Crazy K is that he has accountability issues, because he blamed everything in his life on everyone else, his parents, his environment, everything. He blamed it on everyone else. He never took responsibility for his actions. And he even said in the movie, like, you blaming all this on me? Like, you were the one that pulled the trigger.
You shot people.
And you were the one that killed these people.
So,
exactly.
What are you really saying?
Yeah. So moving forward, we have Crazy K. We figure out that it was all a dream.
It never happened.
It never happened. Crazy K still laying on the ground with blood on his mouth. And he does look terrible. And he ended up dying.
Yeah.
And so we go back to the scene with the 3 gangbangers, and we have the mortician, and they're like spooked the fuck out because plot twist.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert!
Hold
Do the
up.
spoiler alert!
Uh-oh, because it turns out that the same 3 gangsters that killed Crazy Gay are the same 3 gangsters we've been following for the entire film.
And so Junior from Players Club.
Please keep. I just want you to keep going there.
Junior from Players Club is like
Stacy.
Exactly. They're like, okay, nah, you know we killed him. You ain't saying nothing. You gonna snitch. So they're like up in amps right now, and so they just at this point they're like, look, give us the drugs and then we'll dip. Give us the shit. And at this point, Clarence.
Then it gets wild, guys.
The doo-doo.
Oh.
So he pistol whips him and tries to like shoot him and shit. And we get to the
climax.
The climactic part of the film.
The best
where he's like, all right, cool, I'm going to show y'all the shit. And he comes and he shows these 3 coffins. And they're like, cool, we finally got it. We got the drugs. And each and every one of them open up the coffin and they see their face. They see their bodies. And he's like, what do you mean? If this is us, then who is this?
Turns out the mortician isn't a mortician at all.
He's the devil.
They're in hell.
Marco? What is it? Because this ain't no funeral home.
It ain't a mortuary either. They're in hell.
Welcome to hell, motherfuckers.
And then Clarence Williams, the mortician,
turns into the devil.
Weird CGI snake tongue, and the gangsters burn, and
they're pop locking mother.
Yeah, I wish we had the scene because it almost took me out the movie. Oh, because it's so goofy.
Yeah, and then Stacy's like, ah.
So the moral of the story is, don't gangbang, I guess.
The moral of the story is don't go around shooting people.
Don't shoot people in the face and expect them to live a happy life.
The moral of the story is don't kill other black people.
Don't kill. Hey, it was 95. We were tired of gang violence. We were like, all right, boys in the hood.
Boys in the hood, right? Honestly, Tales from the Hood is one of my favorite anthology horror films. It's one of my favorite black horror films. It is amazing.
Absolutely.
I don't have much to say about the second and third film. I did see the second one, and again, I don't have much to say about it. But if you do get a chance, please go watch Tales from the Hood. It was made in 1995. It is streaming on Prime Video. It's an amazing movie, and leave your favorite scene or part of the video in the comments below and let us know what you think.
Absolutely. And for me, I walked away with, I haven't seen this film since I was like 6 years old, and I just saw it again last Sunday, and I didn't realize how influential it was in a way, because I'm sure social horror, that's a hard sentence to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
a lot of
essence.
essence. You know what I mean? But social horror has evolved in such a way. You look at, Get Out, you look at Us, you look at Lovecraft Country on HBO. I hope you're watching this. It's finale Sunday, but, well, when you're watching it, it's already passed. But just looking at how black horror has gone from 95 to 2020.
To 2020.
And we're still talking about the same issues, racism, abuse, police brutality. We should really give our roses to Tales from the Hood and Rusty and the whole cast and crew and Spike Lee for really injecting this into our society, because if you look at it now, not a lot has changed.
It's this film is relevant and will remain relevant.
Yeah, so. And like she said, don't watch the sequels.
Please don't. Okay, so cool. Thank y'all again for tuning in to Monstrosities, Horrors Untouched, podcast of horror, the podcast for black horror. Also, quick shout out to this cool brim that you see me having on.
Show it off.
Thank you, made by my good friend Plex Washington, also known as Imperium Brims. I'll leave his page and link down below in the comment section and the podcast notes so you guys can check him out. Also, please go and follow us on MVHU Podcast on Instagram. Also, the KFX Horror Group is also on Instagram as well, KF Horror Group. We are on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube. Click the button down below, and we'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
Peace.
Turn up.